Hey, I'm Abby and welcome back to the Life Work Balance YouTube channel. Today I would like to share all of the different things that you should include on a federal resume. Now, federal resumes and your traditional resume are different. You should not be submitting a traditional resume to a federal job. If you're going to be applying to a federal job, there's a lot more information that you will include on your federal resume that you wouldn't normally include on your standard resume. So let's talk about what those differences are. But before we jump into that, please make sure that you've hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. Federal resumes are very different from your standard resume. There's a lot of additional information that you need to be including on your federal resume that you wouldn't normally include on a standard resume. If you were to upload a standard resume to a federal job application, there's a chance that your application won't even be considered because the information that the federal government human resources personnel are looking for are not easily available. Because there are thousands of applicants to federal jobs, human resources is looking for any reason to kick someone out of the hiring process. So your federal resume could be that reason why you're not getting through to the next round. So what should you include on your federal resume? Well, at the very beginning, at the top, you should have a section with your personal information. This includes your full name, your mailing address and zip code, your phone number with an area code, your email address, the last 4 digits of your social security number, your country of citizenship, your eligibility for veterans preference, and your security clearance level. Now, the things that you would normally include on a standard resume include your name, your email address, and your phone number. You may even include your LinkedIn URL. You could include your LinkedIn URL on your federal resume, but it's not required. But on a standard resume, you typically will not include your veterans preference, your security clearance level, last 4 of your social, your country of citizenship, or even your mailing address. So right there, your personal information is significantly different between a federal and a standard resume. You may also include an objective statement on your federal resume. If you watch any of my other videos, you know how I feel about objective statements. I think they just take up extra space that is unnecessary. However, if you'd like to include an objective, feel free. When it comes to the education section of your resume, you can decide if you want to list this before your experience or after your experience. It really depends on the job that you're applying to. If education is a requirement for the position that you're applying to, I recommend including it at the beginning. This is because it might be a minimum qualification. I would also recommend including it at the beginning if you're using your education to qualify for the position. Some positions don't require education, or they could just be based off of experience, or it's a combination of the two. So if you're using your education to qualify for the position, I recommend listing it first. When it comes to the information about your education that you should list on your federal resume, you would include the following information: the school or university's name, the degree that you've conferred, and the date that you conferred that degree. If you have not yet conferred the degree, list the number of credits that you have received and the number of credits remaining. You can also list your GPA and any relevant coursework or projects that you've completed. Now, typically on your standard resume, you don't have to include your GPA. However, you should include it on your federal resume. Next is your experience section. Now, on a standard resume, you would list your employer's name, your job title, the dates that you were employed. They don't have to be exact. They could be like month and year that you would include, and your list of responsibilities. However, there's a lot more information that you should be including on a federal resume for each of your job experience sections. So, just like your standard resume, include your employer's name, but you also want to include their address and their phone number. In addition to including the dates that you worked at this employer, you also want to include the average number of hours per week that you worked. You want to be as specific as possible because human resources will use this to determine how many weeks of experience you have in your position. This can then be used to determine the grade that you could be hired at and even the step that you could be hired at for your federal position. You also want to list your former supervisor's name, phone number, email address, and if it's okay to contact them or not. Then you want to list your job title or your series. So for example, you might have a working job title that's different from the series that you're a part of. You might be a part of the series administrative assistant, but your job title could be executive administrative assistant. So you can include both of those if you have a working title and a series title, or just include the series title. You also want to include your salary. And if you're a previous federal employee, you can include your GS level and step. From there, you want to include the list of responsibilities. Make sure this is in bullet point format. For each of these bullet points, you want to make sure that you're pulling key words and phrases from the job description that you're applying to and place them on your resume. From there, you can choose to list additional sections with the following information, or you can include this information within each job that you have if the information was specific to that job. So for example, you can have a specific section for job-related training or any certifications or certificates you've earned. You can have a section for your skills, career accomplishments, and awards received. And you can also have a section that explains your membership in honor societies or professional associations. usajobs does offer a resume builder, so you could just enter your information directly into the website and it will generate a federal resume for you. The different sections that will be pulled for this resume include your name, your address, your phone number, your email, your country of citizenship, your veteran's preference, and your contact for your current employer. We'll also list your availability and your preferred job type and work schedule, your preferred and desired locations, your work status, your work experience, your education, job-related training, any languages that you know, any affiliations that you have, your references, and then additional information. You may use usajobs to build the bones of your federal resume. You can then take that bone version and you can copy and paste the information into a Word document and format it so it looks a little bit different than the standard template version. This can help you stand out from the crowd and also make sure that you include the relevant and required information for a federal job. That's not required though. If you feel like you've got all of the different sections for your federal resume and you just want to create it in a Word document, that is also perfectly fine. There is no required format for your federal resume. You could have a chronological resume, or you could have a functional competency-based resume. You could have your sections in any order that you prefer. You just want to make sure that you've included these different items that are required for a federal resume that are different from a standard resume. Because again, if you were to submit a standard resume, you could potentially be setting yourself up to be kicked out of the hiring process from the beginning and not even be considered because you don't have the required information easily available for human resources or even the hiring manager to review. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments box below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. If you found this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life-work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. If you would like someone to review your federal resume before you apply to a job, let me know. I'm available to work with you as your career coach to help you with your federal resume if you have any questions or comments about the process. Now, while I can't guarantee that you will get a job through the federal government because it's so competitive, I can help you make your odds a little bit higher to be considered by hiring managers and human resources. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.